Previously in X-Men, it is a gift that the passengers and crew aboard the North Star Airways flight beyond the Arctic Circle survived their crash and received world-altering powers to be used for the good of humanity. It is a gift that the heroic X-Men have reunited with Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, and his pregnant wife, Madeline Pryor. It is a gift that Alpha Flight was able to bounce back after the loss of their leader, Guardian, and move forward and team up with their American mutant allies. And it is a gift that we get to read more Chris Claremont X-Men drawn by the graceful line of Paul Smith. But some gifts are too good to be true. I am Jason Lapidus.
I am Chris Sanagan.
And we are Group of 7 Comics. Welcome to episode 117 of our ongoing Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic. As we became classic, yes. As we continue the previously in X-Men sub-series, previously on X-Men 97. Tonight we'll be breaking down episode 5 of the new cartoon and then read through, of course, X-Men and Alpha Flight number 2 by Claremont, Paul Smith, Bob Wiacek, and friends from January of 1986. Man, it's a mouthful of an intro. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm good. You know what I'm going to say as a gift is X-Men episode 5. That's what I'm going to say right now.
Yeah, man, let's get right into it. Greetings to everyone in the chat. That includes, of course, Barry Mitchell and Jason Jose. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Let's dive right into talking about X-Men 97, the, animated series that is taking fandom by storm, which is really, really exciting, and I'm loving it. Just first, yes, no thoughts about the show this week, Chris?
3 thumbs up. That's right, folks.
Okay.
There's a third thumb. I like everything that we love in storytelling and certainly animation as well, as fans of that genre and fans of the X-Men. I mean, stakes as high as they could be.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. Now I'm just hoping that they honor those sacrifices.
Of course.
So those are big. Redemption. There's a lot in there.
Let's just get into it because there is a lot of meat on the bone, and we have a lot of comic to read, and it is a short night, meaning that the night eventually does end and it becomes tomorrow all too soon. I think we can mostly skip over the bulk of the preamble to the thing we all want to talk about, but just to say they go to Genosha, at least Rogue, Gambit, and Magneto, that love triangle where all that beautiful tension is. They go to Genosha with the hopes of putting together a mutant council. The mutant council that's there wants to put Magneto in the position of Chancellor. He wants
for the United Nations, as an entry in the United Nations, right?
Yeah, they're in the United Nations. And so a lot of it is just showing us the world that is there. I'm assuming everyone here in the chat has seen it. And I don't imagine anyone else out there is watching our episode without having to go watch that first. If you're not interested in watching X-Men 97, just skip ahead until, how about this? Until the comic book cover comes back up. But for the most part, we'll start with that. So we can get right into all the meat, which is like that fight. So as
third act
party is going, right as the Hellfire Gala of sorts that on Genosha is happening, we get disaster strikes. The bulk of the X-Men are back at the mansion. They're not really involved in this. Scott's had a meltdown in front of a camera. Jean is having a meltdown at some point as well. But we see
their relationship, right?
Yeah,
relationship's fractious.
All that stuff is happening. All the seeds that have been sown are starting to play out. We see Jean gets a bloody nose. We see Madeline Pryor gets a bloody nose because she's on the island too, right? She's part of that council. And there is a Tri-Sentinel mutant attack. So go ahead, Chris. What are you going to say?
So many things. Like the fact that you could have probably had an episode that probably would have, I think, been interesting enough from a character development to have the love triangle of Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Madeline Pryor about her accusing him of like kind of having this emotional, with her own, who's the mother of his child,
So
in his head, a psychic relationship, I guess.
Yeah, let's go there then for a minute.
Sure. That would have been enough. I guess what I'm saying is that even would have been enough.
Sure. There's actually two things we should go back to. I'm being a bad host. Let's start with that one. So that is pulled right from the comic. I mean, I'm assuming that you've read Joss Whedon and John Cassidy's run, Astonishing X-Men, where we see, Scott couple up with Emma Frost, the White Queen. There's an amazing, like pure cyan cover with her with her hands over his eyes, with his power coming through, just the glow of the fingers in that beautiful red. Really striking idea that she controls, what he thinks and feels. So we know that they have that rapport in the comics. There is this idea of like someone other than Jean being in that spot. And in New X-Men, it plays a little role like that love triangle that when he is with Emma, sometimes she's posing as Jean in his mind.
So
it's like it is, but I'm just saying that they're pulling from the comic there. And it's so nice they're not pulling from the Chris Claremont comic. They're pulling from something beyond that, which mostly what we've been talking about on the show overall is like every version of X-Men in media is pulling from the Claremont run. And here's an example, one of many, by the way, where they're pulling outside of that to generate some great tension and weird story. I like the idea of trying to rework the Madeline Pryor story because, like, I've been pretty clear on my opinion on it so far. Where we're at with around issue 193, it doesn't seem like they know where it's like Chris Claremont knows where it's going or has a plan for it. He's kicking the can down the curb, waiting to see when something comes along. But when you can zoom out and like go 30, 40 years in the future and see what value it can serve for Scott, because this is what it really comes down to, is what does this narrative do for Scott Summers as a character? Like what does it do for Jean? What does it do for Scott? Like what it does for Madeline doesn't really matter. She's there as a way for us to understand our protagonists better. So having like that creepy dynamic with Emma, the telepathic affair, like it does some good stuff. Scott doesn't know what's what.
He doesn't.
No, he's
like, is it you? Is it her? Yeah. Is it the mother of my child? Is the girl I grew up with dating? I don't even know.
Yeah, and it's just like this thought of, when you've been in love and when you've been loving this person who's now labeled not the person you thought they were, like what do you do? And you have a child with them, and like who do you have to mourn the loss of that child with? Because they've gone to the future and become Cable. But like all those things.
Also sweet cameo.
Sweet cameo. So there's some really great stuff there. Past that, we also have the dynamic with Rogue and Magneto was explained. And it's not so far off from what we all, we're kind of thinking that it's from her time where she's with the Brotherhood and Magneto as mentor. We can just say, crosses some boundaries, probably around age and around abuses of power, or just maybe influencing her for his own benefit, his own means. He's reaching out for connection, maybe where he shouldn't be. And his powers allow him to resist her power of absorbing, so they can touch, so they can bone, which is exciting for both.
I didn't get that at all.
So that's out there, which is great to have that out in the open, and we can all like hear it and move forward. And now that the tension is there, and so Rogue and Gambit are apart because the truth is now out between them. Which sets up once the Sentinel attacks. Chris, did you ever get a chance to read Grant Morrison's New X-Men?
No.
So there's a lot of
with Sentinels.
There's a lot of that in this
because I had to figure. I had no when these things show up and then the battle. I'm like, I have no idea what these things are.
And
then I had to go back afterwards. But I how you were saying just. So much of what we talk about often takes from this Claremont run, but this series is actually taking best bits from kind of everything.
Yeah.
And I saw a breakdown, read a breakdown today, and it's really fascinating to see it taken like straight. We probably read the same breakdown, like it's, just the Morrison run here, the Whedon run there, some Krakoa stuff. Like it's all there.
Yeah, there are bits, right?
Yes.
But in the end, it's really gonna like. I'm not so literal about things. Just because something is pulled from somewhere doesn't mean it's about that thing. Again, to me, it always comes back to what does that do to our heroes? So if, let's just say, Jubilee is not in the E for Extinction Grant Morrison run, that doesn't really matter. She's here now. She's one of our characters. We want to see what those forces, how they shape our character moving forward, turning her into the heroic version of her that we need to see down the road. So that's all really cool. So yeah, there is a 3-headed insectoid.
It's a wild sentinel, I think. Is that what I read?
Yeah,
wild sentinel.
This is just part of Grant Morrison's like high concept semantics. Whatever we call it doesn't really matter.
That's what it was called, though, in the book.
Yeah, they're wild sentinels, but that just is supposed to evoke something, a refresh, and get us excited. And it is cool. I'm not trying to yuck on that at all, but just keeping in mind that names are names, and they don't actually make them any more or less wild. Either way,
no.
It's like it's a kaiju-sized disaster, and the image was pulled right from Frank Quietly's art, which is a brilliant idea. I've said many times, like, no one does scale the way him and he and Mobius do scale. So to pull a kaiju-sized sentinel destroying a city, from the artwork is a great idea. So that's super cool. You get all these other sentinels going through the city. Mutants are getting killed left, right, and center. 1,000,001 cameos. Shouts to Nightcrawler. Before we get to the meat of it, is there anything that you want to add in there? Or
so what I think, I mean, as this is all, and there's so much, and then I know we haven't got a lot of time, but I think one thing that worked for me, and I was talking to a colleague like the next day about it. One thing worked for me, but why the ending was so impactful and why it worked really well is because you build up and you develop. Is they had a conversation, like Rogue and Gambit have a conversation in his room about like their relationship and the kind of perceived falseness of it and the authenticity of it. That's a direct comment on how their relationship was perceived in the 5 seasons of the 90s series, where he says, and they played each other's role, right? He says, she says, "You were the swamp rat," and he goes, "And you played my Sherry." And like that, first of all, amazing writing on that, but like secondly, like it really tears down like what these characters, and maybe they're putting up strong fronts because to present it the way they actually feel, but that gives it the emotional weight to then lead into the third act. So that's to me was like such an amazing moment of authentic moment between characters of people expecting, what the expectation is, and then the actual reality behind it.
Yeah,
loved it.
It's a grown-up's take.
I did. I almost exploded, Chuck.
It's a grown-up. It's a grown-up's take on that animated series, right?
Yeah.
Like it was never meant to have the depth that this interpretation is giving it. But it's there for us, so take it and enjoy and write some great dialogue and steal some scenes. The actors did an amazing job.
Cameos are just nuts.
Yeah, it's lots of great eye candy and all the things I want to see. I want all the Nightcrawler that I can get on cartoon form or in cartoon form. He's such an entertaining character to see all the time, and he was so small and so joyful. You gotta love him.
And they connected, and the whole thing was like, "Hey, it's good to see you again. I haven't seen you since the monastery," which is like season 5 or 4. Like again, it's just that
4, I think.
Right? It's just that direct high.
They really didn't miss a beat going from show to show. It's pretty incredible.
No.
So then Magneto is going to save everyone he can. Pushing his powers to their limit. And we pretty much see Magneto at his limit. He takes a monorail and uses it like the train and uses it as a weapon. There's so many great battle scenes. If you really haven't watched it, go watch the fight. It's monumental. And if you have watched it, it's hard to put into words what we all witnessed. And kudos to them for putting that together in a way that we are so flabbergasted.
Did you notice too? As part of that, he is identified as an Omega level threat?
Of course.
Right? Like, but it's still like it's introduced this idea like
Yes.
Storm Omega level threat. None of the rest of the characters are, and then it targets Magneto and Omega level threat. So it's again. So how many of these Omega level threats are out there? Is what I.
It's a name that gets thrown around whenever writers want to, and fans of the X brand, they love that stuff. At some point, Iceman becomes an Omega level threat, and like no joke. So whatever you can power up characters, you can depower. It's all up to writers and their fancy and whatever seems to suit the story. So that the whole thing's going. Magneto's trying to save everyone, but he can't cover all bases.
He's trying to save the Morlock specifically, right? And
he gets Leech in hand, who his power set is that he's supposed to take away your power, and Magneto's powers are still functioning, which makes me interpret that as that Leech has control. Leech can choose when his powers work and when they don't. Otherwise, Magneto shouldn't be able to do anything. And I'm not doing crazy reaching like with the concept of his powers. It either works or it doesn't. So if it's not working, it's because it's inhibited for some reason. And I think that's really important.
It's super
in the way that you read how it plays out. So if we can just say, the Sentinel just destroys Magneto, supposedly, like, they're buried and then blasted into oblivion, and the Sentinel says, Omega level threat, like, no longer detected, or whatever the line is to say
removed,
it's like
it's
Omega level threat removed or whatever it is. So right away my thinking is like, Magneto's alive and Leech's powers are on, so there's no detecting him because his powers aren't doing anything, so we can see him later. And now I'm going to spoil stuff from the E for Extinction run. Okay, Chris, it's a big reveal. It's big. Sorry.
Hit me with your best.
Everyone out there, if you haven't read E for Extinction,
is that also the Morrison Quietly run? By the way,
that's the name of that's the name of the first trade. Okay, so I should just say Morrison Quietly, which is, I don't know, what is it, 3-4 trades? Let's just say 4 trades.
All right.
Early on in it, Magneto is already dead. Okay, he's been dead before. He died at Genosha in the first couple pages.
Yeah,
and the X-Men then go on like a rebuilding process, and they discover a mutant named. Oh, do I do this? Shoot.
Lazarus. Is his name Lazarus? No. Resurrecto?
No, they meet a mutant who's been in a Chinese prison named Zorn, and his mutation is that his basically his head is a star. So he wears this like really interesting, Frank Quietly designed, crazy like lead mask, like helm that contains, is it a star or a singularity or whatever it is. So he's in there and he has all sorts of incredible powers. That all being said,
as a star head guy,
but it's inside like a Man in the Iron Mask type thing.
Okay.
So he is like the most kind, Zen kind of character. He's basically been living in a prison all his life, and he just is a survivor of all that. And he's really, really kind, and everyone loves him. That all being said, eventually, 20 issues later, it comes out that that's Magneto. He's been under the guise of Zorn, and his power set has been able to sort of hide within the description of Zorn's power set. So he's been in the school. He's been like everyone's favorite teacher. He's a really great new character that everyone loves. And when it is revealed to be Magneto, not dead from Genosha, it was like a big reveal and a huge plot twist for a lot of people, hated by Matters to You, which totally cool. reading it month to month, the crowd I was with and me as well, we were all pretty shocked by it being Magneto. We all had invested in Zorn, whether I liked Zorn or not. He wasn't like a character in combat. He was very much a school character. He was like that mysterious professor at the school that was interesting, and everyone can kind of get reprieve from being around him. Did he have healing powers or something? I can't remember now. Anyway, so
all to say,
if you take the Extinction event,
yep,
in it, historically, Magneto is not killed. He is thought of as killed, and he is still alive. So that's like a precedent in the book. Whether they do that in this series or not, we don't know. If Magneto's going to die, it doesn't seem to match the trajectory of the character, or it doesn't seem he's not dead. Come on, it doesn't make sense yet.
We don't see a body. You don't see a body,
right? It doesn't suit the story.
Right? Don't see a body.
That's cool. Also, in the comic, that was the event that obviously decimated the mutant population, and Emma Frost comes out of it with a secondary mutation, where she then now has the crystalline form, or diamond form. So maybe we're going to see her come out of the rubble as well, and maybe she's going to join the team in some fashion. I don't know.
Speaking of, just throwing this in there, speaking of fun Hellfire cameos in that episode, you see Sebastian Shaw dead. Or you see him like on a slab or something, right? And I was like, ugh, couldn't absorb that, eh, Sebastian?
No, I'm not too upset about that. He's not my favorite person.
I know. It was like, oh,
no, I'm just
you.
So there were lots of fun, those cameos. And then I guess the really big one that I'm alluding to also in the description for the name of the show tonight. I said, coolest X-Man. You want to say Gambit, but it's still Logan. Is that he commits a huge act of heroic sacrifice. Yeah. Gambit has a really great display of his powers that I still don't really understand.
Right.
I don't understand the range of his powers, because if you can charge,
it's pretty big
story. Like I'm gonna just say, I'm not to troll anyone out there who loves it. I love the show. I've watched it multiple times. I'm enjoying it. I have all the
science behind it.
No. I do like internal logic, but if you can charge a tri-sentinel, like a kaiju sized object, why are you messing around with a deck of cards? Like, he could have ended so many conflicts so many times by using the powers more liberally, but I understand it's a show and they're not real, and so his powers have to suit what the needs of the episode are. Great death, really awesome for Gambit. Amazing death.
You see a body.
We saw, we watch him die.
You see a body.
I think the most important thing of any of these stories is that we have a feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
We feel joy, we feel rage, whatever it is. We felt shock and loss and awe at him.
Totally.
But it was really, really great.
And you get, again, as I mentioned, you get that the kind of them talking about their relationship or the authenticity of it. And then like within a couple of minutes, they're fighting side by side. And it's like the two of them against the world. And it's wonderful. They're like Speedy's the bike she's flying. It looks awesome. They do a bunch of really cool shit, right? Which looks great. And then there's the Magneto. And then you talking about like how powerful is he, or what is the extent when he knocks her out with the path with the bike, charges it up and throws it. And you're like, whoa, that seems a bit of a larger burst from what we know. And then he goes next level. So anyway, all to say that like fighting side by side, we're gonna win this together. We're in this to the end together. Was just a beautiful moment. That the last like 15, 13 minutes, and like really focusing on the two of them. And then the final scene of him in her arms. And it's
Yeah, and the actress gives a great performance, talking to him as he's dead, and it was really great. It made me incredibly excited for the rest of the season, so much so that I had to look to see, okay, what's the next episode called? How many episodes are left this season? It's called Life Death Part 2? No? What's it called?
I don't know. It's called X-Men and Alpha Flight.
It is not. I'm gonna look.
It is.
Sorry. I thought it was Life Death Part 2.
Bringing it back.
but there are complications, right? X-Men 97, it's like high in my search. Episode guide, 11 episodes. Remember, it was Life Death Part 2 is episode 6. Then we get one called Bright Eyes. Oh. Then, again, spoilers for stuff we haven't seen yet. Then 3 episodes 8, 9, and 10 are called Tolerance is Extinction, parts 1, 2, and 3.
Oh.
And we did get...
and it's 10 episodes, I think, the season, right? 10 episodes.
The season. And I've heard that, season 2 has been greenlit.
Yeah.
So that's great. So let's talk about what will come from this. So coming out of this kind of like, there's a few trajectories, a few things happening here. There's the team falling apart at the end of the Chris Claremont run, reconvening for a Genosha-centered story with their team suits in X-Men 275, 1975. Yeah. All those new Marvel Legends that came out last year. And that has something to do with the Shi'ar and the Starjammers. And there's a whole thing about that. So like that thing of Professor X being in space is still looming over us. That he's going to come back and he might not be himself. He might be transformed. And then we get that clip that just released today of Deathbird kicking Ronan the Accuser's butt with the Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
So there's like a maligned or an Imperial Guard under the wrong leadership, maybe on a crash course with Earth. We might get the team split in two, like a Genosha survivor group. We might get a Cyclops needs to go on a journey this way. We've already got Storm off to the side. So like the team might be scattered from this and might have to come back together for a conclusion, which is so much fun.
What I was thinking, the fractured nature of the team.
Right. So we don't know which comics they're going to pull from to bring them back together. But my vote is I want them all in those suits. or two teams, bring in X Factor, have two groups converge, whatever fun.
Let's see Alpha Flight there. Come on, you want to see it. You want to see it.
So we might see the aftermath of the Genosha event be something pulled from Morrison and Quietly's run. We might see it part of something from Claremont and Lee. We might see, I don't know, something wholly original. But then there's this idea of like, whose plan was this? So, oh, by the way, did you see The Watcher?
Yeah.
So The Watcher's in the stars.
Yeah.
Before the event occurs.
Very brief. Yeah, you get the Watcher, and then you get Cable showing up quickly, and says hi to his mom, which is a whole thing. And then he references it's already started. He says something like it's already started, and then he leaves. Right?
And he references the villain as being a man.
Right.
So there's a bunch of other stuff. There's this idea that could Cassandra Nova, which is Charles Xavier's
sister,
twin in the womb that he killed, but it's like a psychic parasite twin thing, connected to the Shi'ar in terms of one of their like celestial prophecies, and like, is that part of this? Is she not going to be involved? I've heard it quoted from the producers that it's not Cassandra Nova, which is totally fine. We also see in one of those promo clips from Marvel that Captain America's shield falls at a yellow foot. Is that a yellow Jim Lee suit? Is it Cyclops' foot? Is it a flashback? Whatever. Captain America? Are you kidding? The fact even that we saw Ronan the Accuser, so now we're in Fantastic Four and Avengers Kree Skrull territory. I'm freaking out at that. Just the possibility that this could be this massive thing. I might have to stay up till 3 a.m. to watch this.
They're having so much. I want to believe the creators are having so much fun as we play as we act out the roles that they wished we they were hoping we would act out. We're like, what's gonna happen next? Did you see Cap's shield? What does that mean? I don't know.
It is so much fun. The heavy money is on, or the big money is on a character called Bastion, which is a 90s culmination.
Someone in the chat there talking about Bastion.
I see Matters to Use mentioned Bastion. I'm sure if the cut man David Cutler was here, he would be both Exy, which is the X-Men version of Sexy, and he would be mentioning Bastion. He's one of my favorite continuity references. So essentially, I don't want to get into all the comic book continuity because it will bog us down. Because again, different writers say, but what you didn't know, and they rewrite history or fill in gaps. But basically, Bastion is a genetic, a biological and technological match or like extension of like the Nimrod program.
Right.
So he's like a sentinel that is also part biological, a sentinel supreme, but he's like person sized, and there's time travel involved with him. So does he restart that sentinel thing? Does he help make the inhibitor collars? We see him in a photograph on Forge's workshop. In Forge's workshop, he's in one of the photos with Mystique the scientist and Forge in the middle. So he's he's an extension to all of these, connected to everything, because he was written to be a connection to everything. Mm-hmm. He's connected to the Days of Future Past. He's connected to Nimrod. He's connected to do you remember that guy, that evil guy that started the Sentinels program again in around issue 100 when the X-Men go up to the satellite?
Oh yeah.
And
when
they come back, Jean Grey sacrifices herself and becomes Phoenix.
Yeah.
Remember when the X-Men fight the other X-Men?
Yes.
And those other X-Men were Sentinel X-Men?
Yeah.
Like, he's connected to that. It's sort of taking that technology.
The Feria, the Annie-Men, all him.
Yeah, Stephen Lang. Dr. Stephen Lang. So it's like that villain mixed with Sentinels, nanotech, Nimrod, future, everything together. So he's like a mastermind that wants to eliminate everything. Whatever version of him they bring into the cartoon, he's a heavy threat. So we'll see what becomes of that. But that's where the big money seems to be. That it's Bastion, who is the controlling player behind all of it. And we'll see. I mean, maybe, I don't want to speculate on how much like the Watcher will be involved, but like, are we going to get the Avengers? Like, I'm so excited. That would be, and Spider-Man. How cool! They had a crossover before in the 90s.
I know. I read that article too.
Let's do this.
But speaking of crossovers.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of crossovers. The ultimate crossover. The only crossover that matters tonight.
I hope everyone enjoys episode 6 as it comes up tomorrow. And we all get to relish in it again next week and talk about how much we enjoyed having the taffy pulled as Storm works to get her powers back, with Forge and fighting the adversary. So here we go. The Lord of Lies. Chris, there were a lot of characters in this.
Holy crap, aren't there?
And it's not always easy to remember who's reading who. So I don't mind if we are not the most consistent from last week to this week, but we'll do the best we can. Agreed?
Agreed.
Good man. Are you drinking anything tonight?
Tea.
I've only got 2 drinks on the go because I have to pick up my son after this is done. So got some driving to do a little later.
You should hop to it then.
That's what I think. The Gift, Part 2. Now, the version I've got has... I'm reading from my original vintage book from the 80s. It has this recap page.
Oh, that's nice.
Look at that, bro. How nice. Yeah, not captured in what we're about to show, but there you go. Oh, who's going to read Nightcrawler? The one and only Chris Sanagan is the only
I
one.
won't give that one up that easily.
The only one. Yes, the art style matters. She says, love that art style. Yeah, Paul Smith is a gem. He's a real gem. Canada, northern Quebec, the shores of Ungava Bay, overlooking Garfalcon Island. Do you know Garfalcon Island?
Yeah.
You know it? You been there?
No, I mean, but I just know
What's a gear falcon?
A gear falcon is a kind of falcon. It's a big falcon, like a big one. In fact, I believe we referenced gear falcons in issue 2 or issue 8 of Group 7 Comics. Which
really?
There's only so many birds that are the natural predators of peregrines. One is a gear falcon.
Okay, cool. So that can be something we bring into the books, right? We can have a character.
Of course, there's bigger birds out there. Come on.
Yeah, that there could be like one that is like works solo too, right? And hunts them,
of course,
or whatever. Okay, moving on. Elizabeth Two Youngman, who, as Talisman, is the youngest, newest member of Canada's own team of superheroes, Alpha Flight. Do you want to be Talisman?
Well,
she's in this a lot.
It comes with Kitty in the end. So, do you want to do Talisman? Then I'll do Kitty.
Well, we also have lots of scenes with Rachel that I do.
Oh, good
so,
point. All right,
go for it, dude.
Okay. Here, kitty, 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 come out, X-Men, wherever you are. Nothing I like better than chasing down 2 runaway Yankee heroes, especially when one of them's crazy as the proverbial loon. The longer this takes, the more worried I get. Hard to believe that yesterday this fantastic city didn't exist yet. It may well be a preview of what the entire world will soon look like. Feels like I've been wandering through these catacombs forever. I wonder how deep underground I am. Gotta watch where I step. This radiant lichen casts enough light for me to see, but stuff's slippery as sin. Moments like this, I'd give anything for a pair of jeans and my hiking boots. My costume looks pretty keen, but it ain't the most practical of outfits. These geologic formations make no sense. I'm finding layers of surface tundra beneath strata of primordial bedrock, as if something had flipped a whole stretch of coastline upside down. Well, well, well. What have we here? A sketchbook. Name on the flyleaf is Paul Dominique, the architect-engineer who was transformed by the fire fountain into a master builder. His power created the city. These designs are spectacular. The drawings get progressively worse. I wonder why. They can't be by the same person. This last has to be the work of Chris Sanagan. You're up.
Do you want me to read Kitty?
Yeah, you did get it up. Oh, what do you want to do?
I'll read Kitty, sure.
Yeah.
Looking for me, Alphin?
Yikes! Anyone ever tell you, Shadowcat? It's real rude to scare a body like that.
Sorry. I forget. Sometimes not everyone's used to my phasing talent.
I'm not used to anything in the superhero biz.
That's right. You're the new kid on the block.
I'm not a kid. I'm in college.
Hey, me too. Sort of. Come see what I just found. So just to say, Kitty is a high school student who is taking college level courses because she's a genius.
Absolutely. Oh, we got to change the page now. Remember, we got called out last week. Not changed.
No, dude. Look at the screen.
It's done. You've been done to change pages. Damn,
right. You are on probably a different pagination in
a little bit. I am because I'm reading it in the Omnibus X-Men and Alpha Flight collection.
Well, I'm reading it in the original, and I set up this slide deck to match the printed comic.
Smart.
Maybe.
Smart. I don't believe my eyes. Is this
it's
real?
Me.
No, that's me. That's me.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I just jumped on the end of your line.
Oh, good.
If it beats me.
Oh, beats me. I thought you said it's me. Sorry, folks.
It's all right. We're working on it. Beats me. My majors are computer science and weird physics. All I know from Vikings are old movies.
What a find. If it is authentic, oh boy, where will I tell Dr. Munson? He'll go positively ape. He's my archaeology advisor back at the university. That's my major. A Norse settlement, perfectly preserved? Wow.
I wonder how it got buried. An earthquake would have done some damage. Hiya, Lockheed. Any sign of Rachel, Dragon? Beth, do you think the village was hidden deliberately? What's that?
A rune stone.
Is it important?
Probably not. Still, it'd be nice to know a little more about the people who settled here. I'll try to translate it later.
Hey, Dragon, cut it out. Quit shoving. What gives? Oh, I'm a dunce. You have found Rachel.
Yeah.
Sorry I was so dense. Ray, it's me, Kitty.
Go away. Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, I figured that we would. Okay, it's all.
No,
good.
you do.
Yep. Go away. Leave me alone. We were worried. You seem pretty upset. We came to help. Stupid meddling brat. Can't you take a hint? Nope. Stay back, Beth. Ray and I are teammates. Let me handle this. Rachel, I know what you're going through. I know how you feel, but trust me, it isn't the end of the world. It is of mine. My father's child is a boy. Do you understand what that means? That unborn baby should be me. But if I'm not born, here and now, I can't exist in the future. Except you do exist. My past is a lie, Kitty. Is that so bad? I've seen your world, Ray. I don't care for it. In your memories, I learned the limits of my life. I saw my loved ones slaughtered. But suppose your time shift to your past, to our present, changes the future for the better. Our story may have a happy ending. Isn't that worth the price? I guess. But it still hurts.
Rachel wants more than anything a family, a father she can't have. Whereas I turned my back on mine. I've resented, even hated my dad for so long, blaming him for Mom's death. But I wonder, in trying so hard to hurt him, if I've simply hurt myself more. So where do we go from here? What happens now? Oh!
The ceiling, the cave's collapsing.
But it can't. This area's tectonically stable.
Tell that to the rocks. We'll never be able to make it to the surface through the tunnel. Ray, can you sense where the fire fountain is? Yeah, it's over there. Great. Use your telekinetic power to punch a hole through that wall to its pit. As good as done, partner. Fazam!
Pew pew.
Keep us covered, Ray, till we're clear.
We can't leave Rachel.
She can take care of herself. Come on, Beth. Run for it as fast as you can. I love that Kitty's got strategy. She's right into that leadership role.
Right.
These three younger characters, and she does not hesitate for a second, just taking initiative and demonstrating that she can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good. Chuck says Kitty's haircut makes her look like high school Liz Lemon.
So true.
Yes, definitely. I love high school Liz Lemon. I actually love all of Liz Lemons. Behind the fleeing girls, Rachel summons all her strength and uses her telekinetic power to slow the cave's collapse. Yeah, that's some drop. I hate heights. Nobody look down. Can you reach that ledge?
No problem.
Lockheed, keep Talisman company while I go after Ray. I have to phase. That'll slow me down. Could be big trouble, too. I have to become solid to take a breath. But I can't if there's no space for my body.
My power to disrupt spells isn't all that useful against an avalanche. I hope Kitty's okay, but what do I do if she isn't?
Ray! Smart girl. She created an energy cocoon to protect herself. The village, it's gone. Crushed to powder. What a shame. What a lousy waste. Pressure on me. Increasing. Feels like I'm carrying weight of the whole flipping world. I can't hold that much longer. You don't have to. Take the biggest breath you can. and then let go. Keep me pointed in the right direction, Red. If we get lost...
Where are they? It's taking too long. Saints be praised.
Boy, that breath tastes good. But we're not out of this mess yet. Ray's too weak to climb. I'll have to airwalk us up to that ledge.
I've got you.
Thanks. That stunt took a lot out of me. It was a bit too close to call. It was a bit too close a call for comfort. Oh, Lockheed. I'm glad to see you too.
I dig that that third panel there where it's she's phasing, but they show the rocks like it's complete. Like she's, she's phased through a complete cave-in.
Paul Smith does some good cartooning.
He does.
I mean, not only his faces, he super exaggerates some of the features on faces to really show the emotion and the thinking behind the characters. But his pages are really easy to read. They're a lot of fun. And I gotta love Rachel's leg warmers.
Oh yeah, they're the star of the show.
They are. Like she went on the attack from the mansion without planning an outfit.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Right? She just went. I guess she flew. I don't even know. I don't remember how she got all the way to Michael T. Youngman without. Oh my God! Sorry, Austin Matthews almost just scored. It's just some big drama. Anyway, it was really, really close. Really close. All right. Oh, my God. This is a rough night.
What a night, eh?
Too much going on.
Too much going on. I think that
I can manage the rest myself. Airwalking, but that's it, I'm afraid. Should I go for help? I'm feeling better, Kitty. I think I can carry Talisman.
You think?
Be careful of the fire fountain. We haven't much room to spare and a long way to go. Tell me about it.
The fire somehow transforms humans into super beings. Goodness knows what it might do to us.
Talisman, she brushed the energy field. Rachel! The fire fountain, it vanished. Now it's back. The instant it touched Tally, everything winked out. You guys okay? No, sorry. You guys are okay. Easy for you to say, Curly.
Whew, that was something.
Yeah, but what?
Well, since I somehow affect magic, I guess this means the fountain source is magical.
That's a good point.
For that split second we were in contact, I felt positively supercharged, which is probably why neither Rachel nor I were hurt by the backlash. I was somehow able to protect us both.
Sorcery doesn't just happen. Spells have to be cast. So, what are you driving at, Kitty? That cave-in wasn't an accident, which means that somebody was afraid we'd learned something we weren't supposed to. This citadel, the transformations those people up there have undergone, has been presented as the best thing that's ever happened. The solution to war, prejudice, famine, disease, want, all humanity's ills. Maybe it is. But suddenly, I got a whole lot of doubts.
Cyclops is your teammate. The first person changed by the fountain was his wife. You think they're lying?
Let's find out. At that moment, the remainder of the X-Men and Alpha Flight are being royally feted by those self-same transformed people who are just massive, by the way, all really big.
The best meal I've ever eaten, Mrs. Ballinger.
And the loveliest clothes he's ever worn.
What else is a cornucopia for Sasquatch, Aurora, but to feed and clothe the world?
I wish I could be as cheerful, but I keep thinking of Shaman. As Anodyne, I can heal any wound, cure any disease. Why can't I help him? He's dying, withering away. before our eyes.
Maybe nature demands a balance. For all the joy you bring, the good you've done, a little sadness. Thanks to you, for the first time in my life, my optic blasts are under control, and I'm to be a father.
You can't feel anything, silly goose. It's too soon. See, he's touching her tummy.
Mm-hmm.
She's a really big woman.
She is.
Like,
just big.
These characters are so huge. They've been transformed by this magic.
Asgardian big.
Yeah, they are. They're like deity big in that version. But it's funny seeing Cyclops as like a little Cyclops compared to.
It's fun.
And she also has like 80 shoulder pads on.
She does.
And heels.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I just want to make sure everything's okay.
With me as mom, Cyclops, how can our son be anything but perfect? Hey, that's Jean Chrétien.
Nice. Deep cut.
Thanks.
Deep cut. Canadians in the chat know that. Americans in the chat, maybe not. That was the Prime Minister of Canada during the 1990s, Jean Chrétien.
Yeah, different spelling of the name.
Different right? And a man instead of a woman. There you go.
Yeah, that's too funny. She was a geologist. The fire fountain made her our rock shaper.
Interesting. The way these new powers seem to relate to primal aspects of your lives and personalities. The poor woman looks out on her feet.
Yeah, she sure does. Hey there, good looking. You've been working or running a marathon. Sit tight, Jane. Let my healing powers restore your strength.
Madeline, there is something you must know.
I understand. You rest. I'll take care of things. I'm sorry, Scott. I gotta fly.
Trouble?
Nothing earth-shaking.
Can I help?
Yep. By staying put. And minding the party. Be back soon.
So that is
Kitty talking, yeah?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Tally and Ray headed for the library to translate the stone we found. The Elfin's boss, Heather Hudson, has already been exposed to the fountain. I don't think we can trust her. I'd better find Professor Xavier. What's that light? Wolverine! What's Anodyne doing to him? She's coming. I better phase out of sight. Madeline's acting pretty sneaky. As if she doesn't want anyone to see her. Wolvie's mutant power is a healing factor. He doesn't need her flames to fix him up. Unless she was pulling some sort of fast one, mucking about with a part of him that is his own talent. That his own talent can't. Wolvie, wake up! Logan! A few short sentences tell Wolverine what Shadowcat saw. But to her amazement, you're not angry? Nope. She burned the berserker madness out of my system, Cat. I'm sane now. I'm human. Great. Peachy keen. Wonderful. If not for that berserker, your mentor, Ogun, would have killed us both. You sane girl. I can't hack it as a man, only as a psycho.
It's a really interesting dichotomy. There's like the idea, like that's that question, like, you know, you take the berserker out of Wolverine, who is he?
Yeah. Well, let's find out.
Let's find out, man.
I'm sorry. Hey, did you find Snowbird? I don't know. I can't remember. Pathfinder, Beastmaster, and I split up. I thought I had a scent. After that, I drew a blank. Logan, your berserker self is the wild animal side of your nature. Beastmaster controls animals. He could have made you quit. But why? In answer, Kitty reveals her suspicions. I can't spot their scents. The men aren't back. They haven't found Snowbird. And Madeline's stunt may give us an unexpected edge. I was always more than a nutcase butcher, Kitty. Losing that part of myself doesn't make me any less dangerous. Whole and human, as Madeline's made me, I'm immune to Boyd Wilson's influence. Imagine his surprise when he discovers that. Well, there you go. Your question is now answered.
Mm-hmm.
He's no less dangerous. You alert Xavier and have Aurora meet me at the main gate. We've got no time to waste and a lot of ground to cover. My trail ends here.
Sapristi, I know this ridge, Wolverine. The valley below is where my brother Northstar and I hurled Shaman's pouch.
Is that a monster orgy or a fight?
Yes.
I mean, there's some really interesting things going on here, it looks like. There's like tentacles around other things, you know?
Yeah.
Shaman would reach into that pouch and pull free whatever charm or spell or monster he required to help Alpha Flight.
Stay in the background, Aurora, till I give a yell. If I run into trouble, bring the cavalry. Ugh. Shouldn't have shot my mouth off to Kitty. My old self would have waded through this mess without a second thought. It's chaos, pure and primordial. All Shaman's critters are trying to tear themselves apart, just like they did to him. That happened when he entered the Citadel. Narya's scent is strong. No way I could have missed it. She took sick the moment the fire fountain appeared. She and Shaman are magic. The fountain's magic. There has to be a link. And I'll bet it ain't a nice one.
Go away, Logan. I beg you, old friend. Let me end my days alone.
It ain't your time, darling.
That is a great picture.
That's awful.
Yes, great in its
Yeah.
awfulness. And like even like if you look at like her toes and her the claws, because I think she was an owl, she's trying like she's half transformed, you know, like oh gosh, like just in the worst shape possible, you know, and on like a nesting bed.
Yeah.
Oof.
So she is like a deity, an Arctic deity, inside the in a mortal body, like a magical mortal body that can change shape.
Mm-hmm.
So if she was to die, like maybe she would go on to still exist on an astral realm.
Sure.
But it every writer gets to make up their own read on that, so it's all in good fun. No matter what some people might think.
Wolverine.
I'm going to read that line again. Okay,
go
just like the whole thing.
Go for
It ain't your time, darling. No matter what some people might think.
Wolverine, come out, my friend, and walk away. We mean you no harm. Believe me, we'd cure Snowbird if we could, but it's too late for that. The world is changing. There's no more place in it for the likes of her or Shaman. All we ask is that you let Beastmaster and me put her out of her misery.
You want the lady, Rodriguez? You got to go through the dragon and me.
Nice.
I wanted to say Rodriguez so
Rodriguez.
badly. Yeah, it's like they have an animal army.
Yeah.
He's going to stand his ground. He doesn't even know why. He just knows it's the right thing to do. You know,
Yeah.
I love him for shit like this. And again, this is like the ongoing process of Chris Claremont taking the template that was given to him and creating a legendary Marvel hero out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where this guy, time and time again, has the best badass moments. Every chance Like you need to have a guide go against the odds and do the right thing despite the cost. It's like he's Claremont's man until they move on from the character, but he is the go-to guy, and he has like the best versions anyway. Meanwhile,
back at the ranch.
Yes, you a big brawny pup, Colossus. You care to wrestle a couple of falls after dinner?
This is everything I ever hoped for, Jean-Marie. All my dreams come true.
And mine, Sir Walter.
I do not wish to hurt you, Brawler.
That'll be the day. Bless my soul. Ain't she a sight for sore eyes? Tell me, dear, hon, what's a nice girl like you doing?
Looking for my first dance, Jean-Paul. I'm sorry, Rogue. I would rather not. It's only a waltz, for crying out loud. It isn't as if I was asking for marriage or a commitment or anything. Good thing too, young lady, because even simple friendship is more than North Star is prepared to give. That isn't fair, Sasquatch. I absorbed his psyche. For those few minutes when we met, I became North Star. None of y'all understand him the way I do. Jean-Paul, you don't have to. Yes, Rogue, I do. This means a lot to me. I never went to high school, never had a prom. Everywhere I went, everything I did, my power forced me to cover up head to toe. But Madeline, Anodyne, healed that glitch in my mutant makeup. Jean-Paul, she set me free. I wish I could laugh like...
Sorry.
That's all right. I wish I could laugh like that.
And Triple Eight fantastic, eh, Heather? There's nothing to stop either of you now. It's great being normal height, Professor. When your instincts and reactions are geared to the old body, you got some problems, like learning to walk all over again, you know? Funny, over the years I got used to the constant pain caused by my condition. Now it's gone, but I don't feel quite right. How's that for irony, eh?
How strange. I've been thinking along those same lines. Perhaps it's guilt. We've been given such wondrous gifts. Yet while we celebrate, both Shaman and Snowbird lie beyond our help. I can't shake the feeling that something's missing. I possess powers and abilities beyond most people's wildest fantasies, yet in the process, I wonder if I've lost something indescribably precious. Some library, Mr. Ross.
The knowledge of the ages, Miss Two Young Men, at my fingertips. But nothing in it, I'm afraid, to aid your father. His world is no more. Earth has become a place where Shaman can no longer survive, any more than the dinosaurs could the ice ages. I'm sorry.
Magic took my father's spirit from me in childhood, Sam. I suppose it's only fitting it claims his body as well.
This ruined stone you found is really quite fascinating. It's a dedication stone, marking the deity to whom the settlement was consecrated, and the souls of the people its people pledged. Usually, the objects of such stones were Odin and Thor.
I know. This one's different.
Yes, it's much rarer, almost unheard of. The dedication is to Loki. Asgard.
Fenris, crack their bones! I have given these fools the power to reshape their world. Why are they being so contrary about it? Why can they not simply accept Loki's gift without question? I curse on those who live above its shadow. At their bidding to gain a prize beyond price, I humbled myself. I did a good deed, but that, they said, was not sufficient. I must yet prove myself worthy. But of what use are my efforts, my hopes, and dreams if those misbegotten mortals refuse the glory I offer them?
Hard to believe it's midwinter and we're standing 500 miles below the Arctic Circle. Smell the wildflowers, Jean-Paul?
On the other side of those peaks, a blizzard's blowing. Mesitiel says that with the Fire Fountain's aid, the entire planet can be like this, Paradise Reborn. A new Garden of Eden for humanity, with every person on Earth granted superpowers. Does that bother you? I learned very young, Rogue. One does not ever get something for nothing. I want to know the price. Sure it ain't just some sour grapes, mon brave? That Aurora's happy and you're not? This once, Shaki. I wish it was that simple, eh? What? Huh? It's the powers mutants and super beings possess that make ordinary people afraid. But if everybody had them, if we could all start pretty much even, it would virtually eliminate that insecurity and perhaps the prejudice that goes with it.
Sure, I'd like to see who that is.
I think it's the cornucopia lady.
I agree. There's so much need in the world, child. Where's the harm in answering it, if you can?
Is that
You're talking dreams, cornucopia? It's past time a lot of you woke up and took a long, hard look at reality.
Mr. Wolverine, what's the meaning of this?
The party's over, lady. Stay out of my head, Charlie. You too, Ray. My thoughts right now ain't for decent folks. From the very start, people, we've been conned. Play for suckers.
Boyd Wilson, Beastmaster. He's barely alive, but I think I can pull him through, thank heaven. You don't look much better, Wolverine. What the devil happened? Where's Pathfinder?
Flying with the angels.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
You deserve better. But then, so do a lot of folks. Some of you have wondered, but the price of those fantastic powers that Fire Fountain's been dishing out. Well, here it is. Nari is a creature of magic. She took sick the moment the fountain came into being. Jamin's power derives from magic. It went crazy the moment we walked through the Citadel's front door. His daughter, Talisman, neutralizes magic. She disrupted the fountain with a touch. I figured its genesis, the energy it uses for its transformations, has to be magic.
Not simply magic, Wolverine. All the magic in the world. I've known from the beginning. I read in my library, the fountain will grow, spreading its influence across the globe. Everyone who lives will become like us, except people like Snowbird and Shaman.
They're doomed. No!
Have you the right to prevent it? Think of what you're doing, Wolverine. This is our chance to remake the world.
If we are willing, Mademoiselle. Mademoiselle. We are willing, Mademoiselle, to sacrifice our friends.
In my memory, North Star, are the moments and manners of all your deaths. I'll do anything to prevent that.
Your choice, girl. Your privilege. You've no right to make it for anyone else.
I'm a doctor, my friend. My oath as shaman and physician demands I work for the benefit of my fellow man. Perhaps this is best. This is for the best. Perhaps mine and Naria's time has indeed come.
I am a peasant, Overrush. My family are farmers. Our land is good and we work hard. Yet despite our best efforts, many in my country go hungry. And how many in the world are starving or sick or without a decent home?
What are you saying, Peter? That this is good?
Yes, we can end famine, disease, want, hatred, possibly even war. Is that still bad, Kitty?
A rational transaction, huh? The needs of the many balanced against the lives of a few. Think about who those few are, Colossus.
Doctor Strange, Nightcrawler's girlfriend Amanda, and maybe Aurora and Ileana, your kid sister. And Lord knows how many more. I'm sorry. I won't accept this. A gift so tainted with innocent blood is one I want no part of. I stand with Wolverine. This is our citadel, youngster. And in part, our gift. We'll decide what to do with it. And live with the consequences. Or die with them.
Professor Xavier, Guardian, you must stop this madness before it's too late.
There's but one way, Peter Nikolovich. Stand aside.
Yet, forgive me, sir, but I will not. So before, I love that. That looks like a corner box almost of Wolverine looking up to that guy. Or die with them. What a great,
Yeah,
what a great
twice
little
as heavy.
panel. Yeah, love it.
It's crazy.
So great. Hey, y'all, I like long odds, but this is ridiculous. For the X-Men rogue, being the underdog is par for the course.
Joke all you like, Cyclops. But how do we fight our friends? Madeline, on the other side. Your wife, Scott, your unborn son.
Let's hope, Shadowcat, this will prove as hard for them as for us.
Awesome.
Yeah, just let's loose. Sykes' optic blast flattened our three strongest foes, Colossus, Brawler, and Sasquatch. Let's you and I, Talisman, sow some confusion amongst the rest.
Oh, shit. Empty net goal for Florida.
Nah, don't worry about that.
Yeah, I know. The fountain is the key. I promise, Professor, none of you will get anywhere near it. By focusing my telekinetic power, I can fly. And my telepathic talent can follow Nightcrawler's thoughts even when he teleports. I can see their determination in their thoughts. They won't be stopped by anything short of death.
I'm a master builder, Wolverine. To that end, I can shape stone however I please, but with a thought. He sealed his door.
You're the speedster, North Star. Find us another entrance to the fountain and get us inside before Dominic slams it shut in our faces. You knocked us down, Summers, but we ain't out.
Please, Professor X-Men, we do not want to hurt you. Speak for yourself, Shorty. For the sake of the world, this is a battle we have to win.
I'm the strongest telepath, but I have no counter for Rachel's telekinetic abilities. And she believes with all her heart she is right, as we do about ourselves. Each side battles for the best, the noblest of reasons. Heaven help us all. Just to talk art for a second, we're going to start to see some variety in the way characters look, more so than we have up to this point. As I imagine, as the book comes to a conclusion, Paul Smith is running out of time, or he's usually it's the penciler has taken too long to pencil his pages, so the inker doesn't have enough time to ink them all. So Wiacek is sharing inking duties with a few people, and it's not credited as to who they are, but there are some styles that I see that make me think of certain people, some marks that I'm familiar with just from specific creators. But we'll see if people agree, don't agree, or don't see any difference. We'll see. Anyway.
Right. The ground.
Sorry, did I go the wrong?
Yeah, you went one.
Oh, yeah, we're not there yet. Pardon me.
No.
The ground, yes. Earth Mover's doing. She's opened a fissure beneath us. Nightcrawler,
North Star, come at once, before she closes it.
This quick enough for you, Monsieur le Professeur?
Keep going, lad, as quick as you can. Carry Talisman to the fire fountain. I'll telepathically mask your movements to cover you.
I never dreamed any living thing could move so fast. I've done my part, girl. Stop gawking and do yours. Extinguish this accursed infernal flame. How? Jean-Paul, it's too powerful. There's no way I can handle it. Are you afraid, Talisman? The effort will kill you? Yes. Allow me, Alphins, to alleviate your concerns. Northstar, run! Before the crystal closes. That they meant to harm us, Elizabeth. They would have done so. Besides this, since the fire fountain is magic, then so must Monsieur Dominic's power be so as well. Perhaps then you should be able to disrupt our person anytime, n'est-ce pas? I suppose. We'll wait and let them make the next move. This isn't what we wanted, Alphins. Our sole purpose is to help the world, to make everyone's lives better.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? An artist's sketchbook? Monsieur Dominic, see what I have found.
My book! Where did you get it? I thought I'd rid myself of it forever.
Your drawings, they were beautiful. Why throw them away?
His designs, of course, no wonder they seem familiar. The citadel, buildings, furniture, decorations, even this crystal sphere, they're all from Dominic's sketchbook. Shut up! I don't want to hear anymore. That's crazy. You should be proud. Those are magical creations, far beyond the capability of any human agency. With your power, you've made them real. Spirits. I said magical, and I meant it, because that's what they were. Is this the key, the answer to transform people? Does the fire fountain consume not just the world's magic, but their own personal inner magic as well? And does that magic include the ability to dream, to imagine, to truly create? You saw the book, Talisman. The last pages are nothing but scribbles. A baby could do better. It was so wonderful at first. All my fantasies could suddenly, with a wave of my hand, be made gloriously real. But then, when I ran out of sketches, of things to copy, and tried to come up with something new, I couldn't! That's the price, the special part within ourselves that allows us to create.
This changes everything. We have to tell the others. Elsewhere, Earthmover deals with most of her opposition, and her compatriots move in quickly to finish the job. However, skabam! Yo, psych! This is getting us nowhere.
You eager to add your body count, mister?
I had no more choice then, bub, than we do now.
I don't accept that. Cyclops, this is your final warning. Guardian, stop.
Heather, all of you, for heaven's sake, listen.
A trick, Guardian? I think not, Sasquatch.
And Talisman relates Paul Dominic's tragic revelation and her own grim deductions. Skabam! It's the same with cornucopia. Show her a recipe or costume, and she'll reproduce it perfectly. But she can't originate anything of her own.
Those changed by the fire fountain are giving power beyond their wildest dreams. But in the process, they lose the ability to dream. That indefinable, transcendent something that makes us human.
And is that such a bad a thing, mortal, so high a price to pay for becoming like unto a god?
Who the blazes?
By the way, it's Toronto-Boston first round.
Okay,
Just to throw it out there.
I'm ready.
I know.
I am Loki, Prince of Asgard, your humble benefactor. Thanks to my fire fountain, you are no longer human. Therefore, what need have you for so-called humanity?
What was important to me, what gave my life meaning, wasn't the ability to build, but to create. What good is my power? Is your gift if it costs my imagination?
Have a care, manling. Thou art but a little god, while I am lord of the golden realm. Take not that tone with me. Moreover, master builder, I sense thine objections are not shared by the majority of thy fellows. For thy convenience, Paul Dominic, thy sake, should the whole world suffer? Think not, my friends, about what shall be lost here, but what is to be gained.
What of those who already possess powers? We'll be no better off than before.
Before you go further,
Yeah.
this is the first time I see lines that don't make me think of Paul Smith. So he's a pretty tight penciler, but like pencilers leave choices to inkers as to how they render gradients, like going from black to white, like how they cross hatch or if they feather or whatever it might be. So there's a few lines here that I'm saying, yeah, not Bob Wiacek over Paul Smith anymore. Maybe someone like Joe Rubenstein or someone else who's working in the bullpen. They were known as Ramita's Raiders, guys that were hanging around the office or were full-time employees that were able to take on work, or some younger guys that are hanging around too. So I'm starting to see a few marks like that. But again, I don't know if anyone's going to agree or if they'll see anything either. But there you go.
There you go.
We'll be the
Like this
only-
page especially, like that Cyclops in the middle,
Yeah.
that
yeah,
is
sure.
not a Bob Wiacek over Paul Smith. That's somebody else. Go on. Sorry.
No.
We'll be the only ones left with imagination. We'll be the dreamers in a world that can't. How long before we're resented for that, and then hated, and then killed? In the end, we won't have changed anything, saved anyone, at least as far as mutants are concerned. We'll still be outcasts, pariahs, targets.
You will all yield, Cyclops, or you'll need not wait for the hour of your destruction. It is at hand. Even your considerable might is no match for yonder snow giants, creatures as ancient and eternal as the planet, as mercilessly powerful as winter itself.
You don't force people to accept gifts, mister. To have any meaning, they gotta be freely taken as given, and you better have written a card to go along with the gift. Cards matter.
Mister.
Mister,
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
we gods have ever known what is best for thee and thine, Cyclops. Why canst thou not trust me?
Because Loki is known throughout all creation as the god of lies.
I love that he knocks Loki over with his optic blast. I wish there was more space for that to be a bigger and more dynamic panel. Like, yeah, what an option to have.
Totally.
Like, that's a huge moment for Cyclops, a mere mortal, to put Loki on his backside. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thou darest strike a god? Misbegotten mortal, thou and thy ilk shall pay dearly for such effrontery.
Sacre-Père, when your X-Men makes enemies, you don't fool about.
X-Men, Alphans, we must forget our differences and work together, or we are lost.
That a fact, Prof? We can settle our own beefs. Bug ugly, thank you very much. I will not be forced as guardian into any decision by anyone.
I think Peter is miscolored there. You know, he looks like
I think
he's
so too.
too peachy. He should be, obviously, his power set should be on. And it looks like they're fighting like a Disney character, you know?
It's true, actually.
Chuck says, Bethune was the name of my old college band. Skabam, Chuck, you're a fan of the sound effects. Nice. Also on this page, you see some more lines here that look like, again, some Rubenstein stuff. I see some lines that even remind me of whoever, maybe even some Simonson. And on a lot of Madeline faces, I'm seeing Barry Windsor Smith. But that's just what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's actually there. It's just I don't know. Some of the lines you'll see some Barry Windsor Smith faces, but again, teach their own. You have the perfect opportunity, Mr. Wilson, to slay us both, for we lack the strength to stop you. Or, if you are squeamish, simply abandon us, to be buried
within this crumbling citadel. I've seen enough blood today, Shaman. I became as much an animal as the beasts I commanded. The memory still sickens me. I still don't much like mutants, but I'm no murderer. I'll save you if I can.
Your defiance comes too late, mortals. Behold! As my fire fountain reaches forth to transform the face and nature of your world.
Das ist unglaublich. Unbelievable. You think that's something, Fuzzy? Watch this. I always wondered what my limit was. Can I absorb the power of a god?
Yow! How gallant, young lady. How futile.
I think it's Talisman, yeah?
Yeah. Anybody, Anodyne Brawler, help us.
Why should we, girl? Who says we want you to win?
You've been deceived from the start, don't you see? Loki never intended allowing a free choice. At every stage, he manipulated you like puppets. Why else would Earthmover try to bury me, Rachel and Kitty? Or Pathfinder and Beastmaster do their best to murder Snowbird? Are you killers? Is that your true nature? You're a healer, Anodyne. Is this the kind of world paid for with innocent blood you want for yourselves, for your children?
Loki's gift was my heart's desire, Talisman. My fondest dream come true. It didn't seem to matter that by accepting it, becoming Anodyne, I lost myself. But I was fooling myself, as our benefactor did us. Do you hear, Loki? I deny your gift. I want no part of it, as I deny the false god who proffers it.
Rash words, woman. Be sure thou'lt soon have cause to regret them.
Skipper, look out.
Sam!
Oh my god, he got like home run?
You got home
out of the
run.
park?
You got home
Yeah,
run.
he got home run.
He got placata.
Yeah. My plants will hold him, Anodyne. Sure they will, buddy.
Yeah.
But not for long, Phil. Already, the giant's natural cold is freezing them. Floating head here. North Star.
I hear your thoughts, Professor.
Hurry to Anodyne's side. She has but seconds to save the life of Samuel Ross.
I have her. We're on our way.
A heartbeat later, and miles distant. I can feel his pain from here. It's a miracle he survived so long, or survived this long. Rest easy, Sam. I'll have you well in a jiffy. My healing flames, they're dying out.
As I recall, milady, thou didst deny my gift.
Loki, no.
Thou spokest with considerable passion, Madeline Pryor. Far be it for me to stand in the way of such righteous determination.
You can't.
It is done.
But Sam will die.
A pity, truly. I am as touched by thy solitude as by his plight. But there is naught that I can do, for my powers have nothing to do with the healing arts. That, dear Anodyne, was thy purview.
I'm trapped. No matter which way I turn, I lose.
Madeline, the man is barely breathing. I couldn't feel any heartbeat.
Please, Loki. He's my friend. Help me save him.
Of course, dear lady. Thou hadst but to ask.
I love this, like, tear down her cheek.
Yeah.
Like, he tears the flesh with her tear in fire. Like, his... it's really cool. That's
It is.
A beautiful drawing.
All thou wert, thou art once again. However, I want no more defiance. My will shall be done, mortal, and thou wilt do all within thy power to aid me. Have I their word on it?
Yes.
Splendid.
You're part of my crew, Sam, as well as a friend. I failed that responsibility once. Never again. I should have my sins. I should have known, pardon me, I should have known my sins couldn't be wiped away so easily. But my baby's innocent. He shouldn't have to pay for my mistakes. He wouldn't be the first. Maybe it's better this way. The poor thing will never know what he's missing. To him, clouds in the sky won't be dragons or horses or ships or castles. They'll just be clouds.
Loki! Anybody interested in a piece of what's left of this chump after I'm done with him? Wolverine, wait. The battle is over, Asgardian. And as you can plainly see, your giants have lost.
Good help is so hard to find. However, dear Anodyne hath changed her mind. Ever a woman's prerogative, and now accepts my gift with all her heart. She bids you do the same. Is this not so, my sweet?
Yes.
'Tis I who am the victor here, Xavier.
Not so, master of mischief.
By Fenris's bloody fangs.
We who live above in shadow, who are to Asgard as its immortal sons and daughters, are to the realms of men, have witnessed and judged, and found thee wanting. Thy petition is denied.
No!
The terms of our bargain were specific. A deed of goodness, a gift freely given.
That I have done, by giving these mortals the means to make their world a paradise.
And when they said thee nay, thou forced them to thy will. Be that thy concept of freedom, of goodness. By words and deeds thou wert to prove thyself worthy of our bounty. Instead, thou hast branded thyself most manifestly the opposite.
Puling, pathetic maggots, dost know what you have cost me?
Loki! Stay thy wrath. Thou shalt harm no innocent. Thou shalt allow these thy guests to depart in peace, and further pledge, as Prince of Asgard, in thy father Odin's holy name, never do them harm. In this sphere or any other, fail in this, and thou shalt feel our vengeance.
I so swear.
Hast thou but accepted their refusal in good grace, Odin's son, all would have been thine. Blame not the deeds of others for thy failure. The fault lies within thyself.
Pompous windbag. Someday, somehow, there will be a reckoning. Mortals, my word hath been given, and contrary to popular belief, I shall not be forsworn. But know you have made an enemy this day, whose reach is as long as his memory, and who prides himself on returning blow for blow in full measure. You have refused my most generous favor. I therefore take it back, together with every benefit derived from it. Return, Puck, to thy misshapen, accursed state.
I'm becoming a dwarf once more, and holy mercy, the pain! It's worse than ever.
You were gods. Find as much joy, if that is possible, in being merely human. My optic blasts! Zomtrovert, cover your eyes, Cyclops! Even a glancing blow can smash a body to pulp. I'm back the way I was, forced to hide behind my ruby quartz visor. Nightcrawler's right.
careless move, the slightest mistake could have tragic consequences.
I'm crazy again. And so, in their own way, are Sasquatch and Aurora.
I don't dare touch a living soul, else I'll absorb their mind and powers. Some victory, folks. You'll pardon me for not cheering.
This need not be. The fire fountain still burns. I can yet undo all I have done. Be this what you truly want. Be these the lives you wish to lead. Think, friends, of what was and what might be, if you do but ask. To stand tall and proud, Puck, before thy lady love. To touch another rogue, without fear. To kiss, to love. To be a hero, Jacques Moreau, Alcide, Siegfried, Roland, reborn. To live at peace with thyself, fair Aurora. Spurn me in all that is gone. Your world will remain dark and full of anguish. Moreover, from this moment, the suffering and death of your entire race will rest upon your shoulders.
That fella is a cross I choose to bear. Do us a favor, Loki, and take off, you hoser, eh? We ain't interested.
So be it, fools.
With him fades the fire fountain, and with it the eldritch summer that has kept the shore of Ungava Bay warm and verdant. In the space of a breath, the air becomes bitter cold, and the first flakes of snow begin to fall. In eerie silence, the giants return to their mountain homes, leaving no sign that they had ever been, but making everyone wonder, have there been giants there this whole time?
Oh,
Just
shit.
sitting, like, did they not come from Asgard or from, Niflheim or whatever? Like, they were just giants in these mountains? Okay, cool. And the last of the fountain's energies is restored to the world. Nardia, you're healing before my eyes.
No less, my dear friend, than you. There are not words to express my thanks. I know this decision cost you dear, but your sacrifice was not in vain. Loki's gift, for all its good intent, would have cost the earth its soul, leaving it perfect in form and feature, yet hollow and sterile within. In truth, that is a world and future I would have been glad never to see.
I wish I could say I had no regrets, no second thoughts. Every time I see a sick child or hear someone going hungry, I'll wonder if we made the right decision.
Here's your medicine bag, Michael. Evidently, its inhabitants have gone back where they belong.
Merci, North Star. We can yet make a difference, Heather. As heroes and people, Loki's way was a quick and easy fix. Ours will be longer and harder. But I have ever believed the best things are those we earn rather than what we're given.
Nice dream, Pop.
True. But isn't that part of what makes us human?
Hey, Flyboy, how's the plane? Nightcrawler, can we carry everyone? Have we a choice? Hurry aboard, people. There's a blizzard heading our way from the mountains, and we can't afford to be caught on the ground. Jean-Paul, you're not coming with us? You need the space, Heather, and I can manage fine on my own. Does that go for Alpha Flight as well? Jean-Marie has bound herself to Sasquatch. I do not approve, but neither can I deny the depths of their feeling for one another. So like a good brother, I will respect her choice. Without Aurora, without our special partnership, there is little to bind me to the team. Perhaps that will change, but until then, I think I deserve to seek my own chance at happiness. I wish you well, Jean-Paul. Whatever happens, don't be a stranger. On the last, Cyclops, let's roll. If you've got any nifty takeoff charms in your bag, Pop, how about turning them loose?
Cyclops, wait. I can't sense Rachel's thoughts. She isn't aboard.
Blast that girl. What's she playing at?
I'll get her.
Scott? Has he lost his mind? Where's Cyclops going? What's he doing?
Rachel's still outside, Madeline. Question why is she running away, choosing to end her life rather than confront Cyclops with the truth of who she is? Perhaps she means to tell him, but if so, why here, why now, in a manner that endangers us all?
Should we follow? No. Nobody else leaves the aircraft. We'll wait as long as we can, but I can't sacrifice our lives. Even for my husband, who has a superhero costume that I don't know how it got here, but I'm just going to let it go because unstable molecules.
Unstable molecules. Rachel, can you hear me? Why don't you answer? Are you all right, Rachel? Idiot girl. This may not be her fault. She should have more sense. Loki could have left booby traps. If there's any way for him to get around his word and strike at us, you can bet he'll find it.
I'm okay, Cyclops. Figures it'd be him who'd come looking for me. I didn't mean to alarm anybody. It'll only be a moment.
The fire fountain chamber. Lord, it was so beautiful. If it was physically possible for me to cry, I would. Oh.
I'll weep for us both, Daddy. This is the moment I've dreaded. Do I tell him? Do I also ask the colorist to fill in my eyebrows because I look really, really weird like this? But my mom was Jean Grey, the woman he loved. Only in this reality, she died. He fell in love with Madeline Pryor. My kid brother. Oh, whoops. They're married. She's going to have his baby, a son. Like she doesn't know that Jean Grey's coming back. So, like it's anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Have his baby, a son, my kid brother. The world that I came from, the life I led, that's gone. I'll never forget, but I also can't ever go back. Here is where I exist. Now is the time that is important, and my future is whatever I decide to make it.
Rachel, we have to go.
I know. I'm ready, Cyclops. If I tell him, I'll reopen wounds that have barely healed. I'll always remind him, and Madeline too, of what he had and what might have been. He's made peace with his ghosts. Maybe it's time I did the same with mine.
I'm told you're from the future.
A future. We don't know if it's the future till we get there. By the way, coolest looking Cyclops. Just, I love those primary colors. I love the way he's rendered. Like, there's no overuse of lines. Just awesome, awesome, awesome.
And by then, it'll be too late. So why worry? My dad, he used to say, as long as you're alive, it's never too late. Oh, sorry. That's...
Yeah, it's weird because it looks like
all
things are all merged, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know where you're supposed to break it. But then it's too
I think
late.
you're supposed to say it after. So why worry? I think that's the end of Cyclops saying it.
So why worry? And then there's like lines that shouldn't be there. Sure.
Yeah.
My dad, he used to say, as long as you're alive, it's never too late.
Did your father die in that future?
All the X-Men died.
You know, you remind me an awful lot of someone.
That good or bad?
Good. She was very dear to me. And when she died, all the light, the joy went out of my life. A part of me will always miss her. I never imagined I'd ever be as happy and fulfilled again. Till I met Madeline. It isn't the same. It doesn't mean it can't be as good. Or maybe even better.
My mom had a saying, everybody deserves a second chance.
Smart lady.
Yeah. When they made my folks, they broke the mold. I'm not going to tell them.
Funny. I was just thinking much the same thing about you.
All of a sudden, I have a feeling I don't need to. Minutes later, the de Havilland Otter is southward bound through the swiftly gathering storm toward warmer, gentler climes. The roar of its engines almost immediately lost in the howl of the wind. Its tire tracks already filling with snow. The grass and wildflowers that carpeted the shoreline perish with the first gusts of Arctic air. In due course, the citadel will vanish as well. No sign will be left to mark the battle that waged on this spot, save one. A defiant patch of life amidst Loki's desolation. A reminder that humanity alone carries within itself the power to create paradise on Earth, on its own terms, by its own efforts, without the gifts or machinations of greedy gods, which, for better or for worse, is how it should be.
Dun, dun, dun.
Boom.
Cool.
And, yeah, and that is a lot of Chris Claremont. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Can I show you something?
Yeah, please show me something.
So I am reading the story in this collected X-Men Alpha Flight hardcover crossover, which collects a whole bunch of different comics. And the back of that one, it has a picture from Marvel Age 32 of the X-Men and Alpha Flight.
Yes.
Look at that. Cool, eh?
Pretty. Yeah, I should have used that in the thumbnail or something like
That's
that.
cool.
I forgot all about it. Thanks for reminding me, Sanagan.
No props, no props.
Yeah, that was.
And then, sorry, there's a cover by Dave Cockrum, and I
Like
think
an alternate cover?
like an alternate, yeah, or a reprint.
Oh, that's great.
The Gift.
Yeah, so they reprinted that I think around 1998.
That's what it is. So Cockrum does the cover here.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
that's some nice information to include alternately, but I did not. So there you go. I would have preferred, I love the idea of putting the teams against each other.
Mm-hmm.
I would have preferred that lasted a little longer, that the Elder Gods don't interfere just yet. That maybe the Elder Gods interfering happens after the X-Men and Alpha Flight defeat Loki. When Loki's already leaving, they're like, oh, and by the way, now we're gonna fuck you up royally.
Right.
Because you've done bad. But the humans and mutants figure out a way to undo it without the Elder Gods stepping in. Just move the who finds the fix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little more of Wolverine continuing to be a badass, more of that, and more guys rallying, that small number against the big number, down for as much of that as we can get. But overall, there's a conversation in there.
Totally.
Yeah, and that's kind of the end of our Paul Smith X-Men, because he leaves X-Men back when, and then goes and works on this. This is essentially four issues, right? It's two 44 or 48 page comics, so it is 4 issues of X-Men there. So that's kind of the end of his main run, and neat to see. But this sows those seeds of frustration and resentment between Loki and Xavier's school of gifted mutants, which will come back a couple times as we continue on the show.
Cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
And I'm super excited, obviously, for the next episode of X-Men 97. This weekend. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying, what are we reading next?
What do we read next?
Yeah.
Finally.
Is it... Oh, yeah. Cool.
We get back to the ongoing title with Uncanny X-Men 193, which we've been away from for way too long.
Favorite character who comes back in that one.
Yeah. Opening splash. Look who's there.
Splash. A certain mutant from the Emerald Isle.
Well. I'm very excited for that. It should be fun this weekend. If you're in the Greater Toronto area on April the 21st, head to the Transac, which stands for something, doesn't it? Isn't it some sort of transatlantic Australian?
Well, Anzac is Australia, New Zealand, right? The Anzac.
There you go.
That was what they were known as in the First World War too.
I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's cool. So there is a Transact Club in Toronto at Brunswick and Bloor. Like half a block.
Australian and New Zealand Army Corps.
There you
Basically,
go.
with the Anzac
Half a
sign.
block south of Bloor. On
Yeah.
Brunswick, on the west side, there is an event there called Artsy Fartsy. And I will be sure to bring both some artsy and some fartsy into that too small room. I don't know if you've been there for events, but I've both
It's been a while.
watched bands play there and played there as well as a musician in my younger years. But I'll be there selling copies of Group of Seven, A Most Secret Tale, my most favorite trade paperback that we've ever created, and issues of the last couple issues of Peregrine's Hunter's Moon, and whatever else, issues 7 and 8 of our ongoing series. That'll be a blast, and maybe doing some sketches for people, whatever folks want. So I'm excited for that. Wait, you guys are doing a show at the Ball Sack? Good one. Yeah,
that's on the dark web.
Yes.
But Transact though does stand for so it is Australia, New Zealand, but it's the Toronto Australia New Zealand Association Club. So it's literally it was set up as a club with expats, like to service Australians and New Zealanders who wanted to come here and hang out with each other here in Toronto. So there you go.
That's crazy. By the way, when I was banging on my head, it turned my AirPods. It pressed play on my iTunes, which was a ridiculous 80s rock song. So that was
it a good one? It's a good one.
It was great, but I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, just strange that patting my head would turn on my AirPods. So for those of you who have a similar shaped skull, be careful not to engage the touch functions on your AirPods. Anyway, so I'll be there on the 21st, which is this coming Sunday. And then the following Saturday, you will be at the Halton Hills Fan Fest. Is that what it's called? Halton Hills Fan Fest at the Georgetown branch of the Halton Hills Public Library. Do I have that right?
Yep.
On Saturday the 27th.
That's right.
Beautiful. I'm hoping I can join you there. That should be a lot of fun to go to anything that's sort of, fan culture stuff. Lots of X-Men talk, hopefully.
Totally.
And hopefully some Group of 7 comics talk too. I really just can't wait to get to watch episode 6.
3 a.m.
Yeah, I might. Well, we'll see. It'll ruin
my
week.
It drops 3 a.m. on our time? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It drops midnight LA time.
No, those LAers.
Yeah. I can probably wait till 7 a.m. I have work to do anyway. So that sounds good. Anything else you want to cover before we call it?
Well, I just want to say that we did it. We passed 300 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So to 302. So let's go to 400 now, people. Really appreciate it. And I do want to say thank you to new subscriber Pete Dobbs. Thanks for joining the channel. That's all I'm going to say. There's a thumb. Hello. Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Much appreciated.
If 300 gets us anything, does it party?
No, 500 gets us. We can do
500.
community posts, and on our way to monetizing, which we have no intention of doing anyway. But it would be a lot of fun. So, yeah, continue to do all the things.
All the things.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of Previously in X-Men. Thank you to my good buddy, writer of Group of 7 and Peregrines, Chris Sanagan. You can find out more about our comics and upcoming appearances at group7comics.ca. That's the number 7. Follow us at Group of 7 Comics on social media. Please click like and subscribe and tell us your take on X-Men comics in the comments below. And thanks, Bob.
Stay Xy.
And have a good night. See you next time.